Welcome back everyone, this is MandoAllDay, back with another video, and in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Rogue's hardcover. This is the DC Black label, so as always, I'll be talking about a little bit of the story, the art, and of course, everything worth the purchase for now. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not on the support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So, let's take a look in front of the dust jacket, the spine, the back. All right. Now let's take a look at underneath the dust jacket, if I can get it out. Perfect. Perfect. Front of the book, the spine, the back, and I'll do a full spread image so you guys can see the full art, which looks pretty cool. All right. Now let's take a look at the book and talk about the story. So what is this book about? Mainly, the book is about basically the Rogues are living a normal life, meaning they're either in rehab, probation, or just, having a regular job, low-paying job, I guess you can say. And so what happened in the past is that 10 years ago, the Rogues decided to disband themselves. They all decided to go their own separate ways, their done deal. And when that happened, fortunately, some people went to jail, went to prison. Others are actually not who they say they are in terms of getting like a job using someone else's name and so forth. And so one day Captain Cold, he has a normal job, gets promoted, but he gets made fun of. He has a probation officer who's kind of an asshole to him, and Captain Cold's done. He's had enough. He hates the job. He hates how essentially he has no money and just hates everything. So he decides, you know what, I'm going to do one last steal heist, I guess you can say. So what he ends up doing is actually goes out and gathers all of the Rogues. They can all create a plan, and they all just decide to do this one big heist or job, which is go to Gorilla City and steal from Gorilla Grodd and steal the things he has in there, which I'm not going to say because it's a bit of a short story. It is 4 issues, so it's a bit short. But that is the main gist of the story. It's just Captain Cold's fed up with his life, and he gathers with the Rogues. They all decide to make this one big heist and get a huge payoff. And even though it's a very short, pretty straightforward story, it's really good, man. I really like the story. The story is just fantastic. You actually feel sympathy for some of these characters. Like, for instance, Captain Cold, he's just trying his best. He's older now, of course. He's trying his best. He's trying to pay his dues for everything he's done. And there's essentially people making fun of him. They're like, oh, he's just a nobody anymore. He used to be somebody, but now he's just nobody. And people are just no showing respect at all. And you feel sympathy for them because, like, at the end of the day, they're still human beings, even though they're villains and they've done some stuff. So that says a lot about the writing, where some of the villains, you feel bad what they're going through, but at the same time, they're villains, You're supposed to hate them. But anyway, so the story itself is really good. The writing is really good. It's really solid. The pacing is really fast-paced. I read this in one sitting within an hour, and it literally went by really, really quick because the way it's written is written so well. The pacing of it is above average. There are some small, short moments where it is about average, but for the most part, it's above average. I think the art is good. There are some art pieces that look really, really cool, but for the most part, they look good, but clean looking, but nothing really, really stands out. There are some moments, like I said, but for the most part, they all look good and look clean. And like I said, the story is fantastic. Seeing the Rogues where they are in life, how living in normal society is actually really interesting. There's one character, which I'm not going to say, who's actually like a social worker trying to help people now. And there's another character who is completely different. Has gotten surgery. It gets really, really weird. But it's interesting to see what happens to the Rogues. What happens when they go from being the super villains to now very grounded, normal, human beings. And that's really the interesting is. And of course, the main point of the story is this one big heist, seeing the plan played out, but more importantly, what are they going to be able to complete their task? And I'm not going to say what happens or anything, but man, that buildup is so good. And just seeing just how they all interact with each other, how one person's good with this and that is just fantastic. And I gotta say, I really dig this story from beginning, middle to end. I really enjoy this story, and I highly recommend reading it. It is a lot of fun. Like I said, the pacing is above average, I would say. The art, it's good and clean. There are some moments really, it's pretty clever and creative. I would say that the action scenes or the fighting scenes are really top notch. That's what I like about it, is that when you see some fight scenes, like there's one part of the story where I'm not gonna say what, but Captain Cold is fighting Gorilla Grodd. It drags out, but it's so much fun, and you see how Captain Cold is a badass, and that's what I like about it. He comes off as a badass, and he just show it in this comic how he's really a badass. Even though Gorilla Grodd, here he's right here, is like almost twice his size. Captain Cold does not stand down, and he does what he does. Even though the other characters too, like Heatwave is on here too, you really see him just being a badass, and they're really long, brutal fights. And that's what I like about it too. Like, it gets you excited, and just seeing all this play out is really, really cool. And to me, I can't get. There's nothing for me to hate on it. I really, really, really like this book. And yes, would I recommend it? Absolutely. This is a fun read. You don't have to have any prior knowledge. The only prior knowledge is just knowing who the rogues are in terms of each character and a little bit of their abilities. And if you know all of that already, just get this book. You're gonna have a good time, especially in this format, because this is like they call it black label. I believe it's a magazine size. Here, I'll show you an example. So this is a regular hardcover, and this is the Rogues. You can see the difference in size. So it's a lot bigger, but that's a good thing, because with this kind of art, it just really stands out. And with the bigger size paper, the art just looks bigger, and of course with the quality of the glossy paper, it just really, really pops, especially towards the end when they have the huge fight scene. Man, it just really, really pops and it looks really good. So, of course, would I recommend it? Easily a thumbs up. Actually, you know what? This is a 2 thumbs up for me. I really like the story. It's very well grounded, but the writing is good, pacing is good, the art's good. I recommend reading this book, man. I really like it, especially what happens at the end. Because what happens at the end, I'm not gonna say, but when it ends, I just like, man, I wanted to read it again. That's how good it is. So to me, Rogues hardcover is easily 2 thumbs up for me. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read this book? Do you plan on reading this book? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to the support channel to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So it includes an overview of the Rogues hardcover, and on to the next one.